This is why the pro-abortion movement now is doing everything they can to avoid talking about abortion itself. That's why they're saying that the Dobbs case, which could overrule Roe v. Wade, it's not really about abortion. It's about contraception. It's about the Obergefell redefinition of marriage. It's about interracial marriage. Oh yes, if we get rid of Roe versus Wade, they're coming for your interracial marriage. What are you talking about? Find me one conservative in the country who has said that. You can't. All they're trying to do is distract. And now what they've settled on, especially in the light of the Buffalo shooting, now that they're exploiting a mass killing up in Buffalo a few days ago, they're saying that really the pro-life movement, it's all about white supremacy. This might be the most ridiculous argument of all. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick. Which is more poisonous, cyanide or arsenic? Which is more ridiculous? The arguments about life or the arguments about white supremacy? But this is what they're saying. There is a prominent Twitter account, goes by El Norte Recuerda. I don't know what her real name is. She has a PhD. She's a published author. She's got a big old platform. She's got a blue check mark. And yesterday she posted onto social media, she said, the majority of people who get abortions are white. Overturning Roe v. Wade neutralizes two major threats to capitalist white supremacy: the declining birth rate and the shrinking white minority. Criminalize abortion, ensure a future majority white working class. Okay, she posted a little infographic here to back up her claims. The infographic disproves her claims. She says the majority of abortions are of white people. The infographic she posts says race of abortions, 39% white. So right off the top, this woman doesn't even know what a majority is. Majority is 50% plus one. A plurality of abortions are of white people, fair enough. And she says, so if we get rid of abortion, you're disproportionately going to have more white people in the population. So let's just look at those statistics. She says, according to her graph, 39% of abortion patients are white, 28% black, 25% Hispanic, 6% Asian Pacific Islander, 3% other. I am so glad that you have watched my content, that you listen to the things that I have to say. Something tells me the political powers that be do not necessarily want you listening to the things I have to say or watching this kind of content. Surveillance is increasing. People have your data, okay? To protect your data from being tracked, I would urge you to get ExpressVPN. It does not matter where you live. Every time you search for something online, you watch a video, you click a link, it is all getting tracked by three-letter agencies in the government, by big tech, or by both. They can match your activity to your true identity using your device's unique IP address. When I turn on ExpressVPN, they can't see my IP address at all. My identity is anonymized by a secure VPN server. ExpressVPN encrypts 100% of my internet data for protection from any eavesdroppers or cyber criminals. I go online, I click that button, it takes 2 seconds, and then I'm protected. I don't need to worry about it. Stop handing over your data to the government and big tech companies. Defend your rights with the same VPN that I use and trust. ExpressVPN.com/Michael Knowles Show, MICHAEL, KNWLESSHOW to get 3 extra months for free, or click the link in the description below. So the plurality of abortion patients are white, 39%. But 62% of the country is white. 28% of abortion patients are black. Only about 13% of the country is black. 25% of Hispanic patients, of abortion patients are Hispanic. Something like 18% of the country is Hispanic. Meaning, abortion disproportionately kills Hispanic and especially black babies. White babies are relatively underrepresented in abortion. If you overrule Roe v. Wade, and then if you go further to criminalize abortion, the effect will not be disproportionately more white babies. It will be disproportionately more Hispanic and especially disproportionately more black babies. The infographic she's posting, the statistics that the pro-abortion movement is using, proves the opposite of the point that she thinks she's making. This is the best and brightest they've got, folks. If you were on the fence about abortion, I think you can fall off the fence now. I think it's pretty clear which side has all of the arguments and all of the truth, and it's all coming to light. And it makes me feel really good. Almost as good as my X chair. Go check out X chair today. What this is coming down to, especially in the light of the the midterm elections, especially in the light of the Democrats looking for anything to try to gin up their base. They're losing on the economy, they're losing on immigration, they're losing on foreign policy, they're losing on inflation, gas, food. Go down the list. The Democrats are underwater. So now they are going back to their most basic strategy. They're trying to gin up racial resentment. And this has worked for them for a long time. And they're tying it into this abortion issue. There's a woman, Jo Luehmann. Never heard of her before, but she's apparently got a podcast and a fairly big platform. Yesterday she said, quote, "I would rather get an abortion than have a brown child who ends up being adopted by white evangelicals. It is not a kindness to children of the global majority." What does that mean? Oh, she just means not white people. She said, now obviously that includes black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, all sorts of people. And even within that, to say Asian, right? You're talking about what, a quarter of the world's population or more? But so we're talking about what, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, does that, all of these people, she's just saying, when she says global majority, she just means everyone but white people. Just don't like, it is not a kindness to children of the global majority to give them to people who will traumatize them with self and ancestral hatred. And abortion is an act of love. Imagine hating white people so much that you want to kill your children just to spite white people. That's what we're talking about here. Obviously, it goes without saying, if you said this about any other race, you would not only be deplatformed, you would be socially ostracized. If your employer found out, you would lose your job. If your school found out, you would be expelled. You might be prosecuted. We still have pretty strong speech protections in this country. They might find a way to prosecute you. If you said, "I would rather my child die than be raised by a black person," or bring in the religious aspect here, "I'd rather my child die than be raised by a Muslim," or something. You would be totally booted out of society. And yet we are told that it is white people and Christian people who have all of the privilege. Of course, that's not the case. The only groups that you're allowed to discriminate against legally are white people in race, men in sex, and straight people, I guess, if you talk about sexual desire, and Christianity bears a fair brunt of it in the public square. It's totally the opposite of what people are saying. And I suspect they actually don't see it. I suspect that their hatred has just driven them crazy. Anger and hatred and wrath can drive you crazy. Obviously crazy. This woman is saying, "I'd rather kill my kids than have my kids raised in a loving home by this race that I hate. White people, by this religious group that I hate, Christians." Hey there, I'm glad you liked that clip. Now, what is required is that you ring that, smash that, like that, hit that subscribe, hit the gizmo, do the thing, you get the notifications. Also, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to The Michael Knowles Show. Leave a 5-star review, maybe more if you feel so inclined. We'll see you next time.